Hello everybody, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos. I told myself I was going to keep this up and I haven't, so for that I apologize, and maybe this will be a start of a new thing, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Anyways, wanted to share with you some good news. Bishop Kimmy has updated the guidelines for the celebration of Mass in the Diocese of Wichita. And some of these things can be implemented immediately, and there's one thing that will be waiting, but I just wanted to go through that with you. There's also a flock note message that's been sent out with everything written out if you'd like to look at that. But ultimately, what Bishop is looking at is making some light modifications so that we can start moving towards a greater sense of what is normal. Things that are going to happen immediately. The pews the books are going back in the pews. We're going to have the choirs can start up again. And we're going to ultimately have ushers taking up collection, and the offertory procession can be implemented again. Ushers taking up collection and the offertory, we're going to wait one more week just to get things arranged and organized. Otherwise, we're going to start. The books are already back in the pews. Choirs are already getting things together. Some things that have not changed. Bishop is still requesting that people wear masks at Mass. The sign of peace is still being omitted. We're still not distributing the precious blood. And hand sanitizer will still be available, things of that nature. What will be implemented later? Holy water will be coming back to the holy water fonts in the church. I know many of you have desired that and have asked for it. That's going to begin again at the Easter Vigil. The Easter Vigil is already a time when we celebrate the nature of holy water and the gift of new life that we're given through baptism, so it's kind of a perfect opportunity for us to restore that to the church. The fonts then will be cleaned regularly and sanitized and disinfected, so that will be something that will be ongoing. Finally, there's a change in the seating capacity in the church. But, currently, we've been at 33% capacity in the church. Bishop is going to allow us to increase that to 50% capacity, which for us means that we're going to have to make some rather significant changes in order to accommodate that. But this should allow everybody to be seated together in the church and to not have many people or anyone seated in the overflow seating, although that still will be available if we need it. So this is what it's going to look like. The pews on the east side of the church will have the ribbons removed, and all of the pews will be available for seating on that side of the church. This obviously means that social distancing is not going to be as possible. You may still be able to have some space between groups, but it's not going to be as possible. So if you are seated on that side, you need to understand that may not be, you may be closer to other people. The pews on the west side of the church will still have the ribbons in place, so every other pew, and with the expectation that on that side of the church, social distancing will be maintained. You may choose to sit on either side of the church. The ushers are not going to seat people for now. We're going to let people just choose where you would like to be seated. You may be seated on either side of the church, no matter your thoughts or feelings about the matter. But if you're seated on the west side of the church, please maintain that 6-foot distance between groups and respect those that are around you on that side. If you're seated on the east side of the church, know that you may be seated closer to others than you would be on the other side. As we go into this, as much as possible, please continue to fill the pews from the front of the church to the back. This is still something that Bishop has requested. And then at the end of Mass, we will dismiss from the back of the church to the front. Other than that, things will be pretty much the same as they have been. We'll still do communion by the side aisles and across the front at the communion rail, and going forward. But I do want to make a comment because I think that setting this up in this way could potentially allow for some interpretation of separating groups, and I do not want that to happen. So I don't want anybody to look at those who are seated on one side or the other and make any kind of judgment. It is where we are seated in the church. Ultimately, this is about who we are as members of the mystical body of Christ, united together to worship the Lord. This is going to allow us to have a greater sense of community. This is going to allow us to start to feel like things are maybe a bit more normal. But that's not what it's about. Ultimately, this is about allowing us all to come together to worship the Lord as one body of Christ. And if we can keep focused upon that, the love of God, the love of neighbor, then all of these other things shouldn't matter. So let us continue to be mindful of who we are as a people and continue to draw closer to that gift of God, to grow in grace and prepare ourselves to celebrate Easter in just a few short weeks. May God bless you all.